These are my daughter's shoes. They're not rare. They're not super expensive, but they matter. She didn't ask me to clean them. I just noticed that they were getting worn and dirty. Dirt from the playground and scuffs on them from her learning how to stop on a swing or push other friends on a merry-go-round, playing foursquare, all the things that elementary school kids do. They've got creases from running everywhere that she goes. But when something belongs to you, and when you love it, you don't wait for it to fall apart before you take care of it. You just take care of it. I think a lot of us grew up believing that our value comes after our improvement, after we clean ourselves up and after we get things under control, after we're less broken or less messy, we become more presentable. But that idea doesn't come from God. In fact, Scripture tells us a very different story. There's a word used throughout the New Testament, Sozo. It means to save, to heal, to rescue, to make whole, to redeem. What's important is when that word is used. God doesn't use sozo people once they've earned it. He doesn't wait for them to be clean first. He moves towards them while they're still dirty, still worn, and still struggling. The gospel doesn't say fix yourself and then come to God. It says while we were still broken, God comes to us. That's what grace actually is. Grace is not God lowering his standards. Grace is God paying the cost. Restoration in Scripture is never about pretending the dirt isn't there. It's about dealing with it carefully, intentionally, completely. That's why this matters. Because real restoration is not cosmetic, it's relational. When I clean these shoes, I'm not proving their worth. Their worth was already decided. They belong to my daughter. The care comes because of the value of them, not in order to create value with them. That's the heart of the gospel. We don't obey to become loved. We obey because we are loved. We don't pursue holiness to earn salvation. We pursue holiness because salvation has already been given. God doesn't restore us so that he can finally accept us. He restores us because he already has. These shoes will be outgrown, probably sooner than I want them to be. And that's important too, because care still counts, even when something seems temporary, even when it won't last forever. God's care for us isn't based on the usefulness or productivity or longevity of what we do for him. It's rooted in love. And that's why this series exists. Sozo Souls is not about shoes, it's about stories. Stories of restoration, stories of patience, stories of redemption that don't happen all at once. Each pair of shoes represents a life that matters to God, not because it's impressive, but because it belongs to him. Sometimes these will be my family's shoes. Sometimes they'll be worn out pairs that were donated. Sometimes they'll belong to people whose stories are heavier than the dirt on the shoes. But the message will always stay the same. No one is restored by accident. No one is saved by effort alone. And no one is beyond the reach of grace. This is the ministry of Sozo Souls. A reminder that God is still in the business of making people whole. Not by ignoring the mess, but by meeting us in it. One pair at a time. Sozo Souls has two branches. They're connected, but they're not the same. The first is what you're watching right now. These videos will exist to slow us down, to tell us stories of restoration, to remind us that value doesn't come from being new and clean or impressive. Every pair of shoes represents a life that matters to God, not because it's perfect, but because it belongs to him. This side of Sozo Souls is about reflection. It's about seeing grace at work in the ordinary hands-on moments. It's about showing what restoration actually looks like, patient, intentional, and rooted in love. The second branch, the shoes we restore, will be worn again. We give them away. Some go to people who need them. Some go to ministries and organizations already serving their communities. Some go to individuals whose stories will never be shared on camera, but they matter just as much. This isn't a charity for attention. This is a service, as a response to grace. Because the same gospel that restores us spiritually calls us to love people in tangible ways. Scripture tells us that faith without action is incomplete, not because works save us, but because saved people are changed people. One branch will tell the story, and the other will aim to live it out. Together, I hope they point to the same truth. Restoration is possible. Grace is costly, and no one is too worn to be made whole again. Welcome to Sozo Souls, reflection and restoration, walking together.